Good evening. My name is Mary Maslowski. I'm the chairperson of the Historic District and Historical Commission. I'd like to call to order the meeting for Wednesday, May 1st, 2019 at 6 p.m. here at 732 Main Street at Harwich Town Hall in the small hearing room. As a reminder, we are required by law to notify you that the town may audio or video record this meeting, and we are actually doing both. If any person in the audience intends to audio or video record the open session, you're required to inform the chair. Hearing none, we will call to order our first public hearing. It's a continuation for HH 2019-06. It's a certificate of appropriateness which has been received for 729 Main Street, map 41, parcel D1-2, Macris ID HRW.36 in the C-V zone in the Harwich Center Historic District. The application proposes for the installation of a typical bagged ice merchandiser at the rear of the building. The application is pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 40C, Section 6, the Code of the Town of Harwich, Chapter 131, Historic Preservation. Article 2, Danny Mays Kairouz, trustee, as owner, Tanios Nora, manager as applicants. Thank you very much for coming. We have a quorum tonight. I'm going to pass out, this is a sample that we were provided with for a proposed sign. As I recall, last time we had talked about installing a fence, and this looks like the fence detail that you're looking to install with a sample of the sign he's looking to install. So if there are any questions from members of the board, we can start there. I will ask first of the board members. I believe Angelo and Brendan, you have both spoken about the type of fence. Does the detail in this fence meet with what you were thinking?
I mean, I think when we originally spoke, it was something we were talking about matching the existing little fence that was in front of the house, but that is a vinyl fence, and it has caps on it. So, I mean, if this is wood painted and maybe there's some detail on caps to match existing.
Yeah, it shows the fence pieces covering the post.
Mm-hmm.
The post has a cap on it, you're right.
Right,
Yeah.
it's just a simple cap just to mimic what you have
Right.
going into the main entrance of the house. I think that'd be fine if it was painted white. I don't have any objection to that.
Is that agreeable? Okay. And are there, so we're talking this fence painted white with end caps on it,
Yes.
and then we're looking at the sign. Are there any?
The sign is gonna be frame, a wood frame.
Okay.
Okay.
That's fine.
So if all looks good, we're still in a public hearing. So I'll ask if there's any member of the public wishes to speak or have any questions. Any other comments from the board?
None.
Then the chair would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Can I make a motion? I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion is made by Angelo, seconded by Gail, to close the public hearing. So at this time, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any in opposition? Hearing none, it carries 5-0. So then the chair would entertain a motion on approving the certificate of appropriateness for the installation of a bagged ice machine, including the fence with the details as discussed in the sign as shown on the application. Is there a motion?
I move to approve. Can we read all this? So moved.
Okay. Motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made by Gail, seconded by Brendan, to approve the application for the certificate of appropriateness for the installation of a bagged ice merchandiser, including the installation of the fence as detailed with end caps and painted in white, and a wood framed sign for the fence. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any in opposition? Hearing none, motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. You're all set.
Thank
We'll
you.
let them know.
Thank you, Ned.
Thank you, that would be nice.
Okay. So we'll call to order this second hearing. It's HH 2019-08. It's a notice of intent that has been received for 12 Grove Street, map 6B, parcel L52, Macros ID HRW.491 in the RH-2 zone. The application proposes the partial demolition and reconstruction of a dormer at the front of the house. The application is pursuant to the Code of the Town of Harwich, Chapter 131, Historic Preservation, Article 2, Philip Dowd as owner applicant. There's no one here. I would propose that we postpone, that we don't take any testimony and postpone the hearing until our next meeting, which should be the third Wednesday in May. So I would propose, the chair would entertain a motion to continue to May 15th at 6 p.m.
I move to continue to May 15th at 6 p.m.
So motion's been made by Bob, seconded by Angelo, to continue to May 15th at 6 p.m. All in favor?
Aye.
Any in opposition? May 15th. That's our regular third Wednesday of the month. Hearing any opposition? Hearing none, motion carries unanimously. So open the next item on our agenda, which is HH 2019-09. It's a notice of intent which has been received for 153 Gorham Road, map 24, parcel R2 in the RR and RL zones. The application proposes the 100% demolition of detached garage barn. The application is pursuant to the Code of the Town of Harwich, Chapter 131, Historic Preservation, Article 2, Susan and Jonathan Shorey as owner applicants. Good evening, Mr. Shorey.
Good evening.
So please, if you wouldn't mind, starting with just an overview of your proposal.
Sure. Thanks for meeting with me and my wife. She doesn't want to come up here.
We can see it.
We have an old house and an old barn. The house has been completely renovated. We decided not to tear it down when we did the renovation about 4 years ago. The barn is the same, roughly the same age, 1860. It was a barn, and then a little small portion was added on to make a garage out of it. It is in very rough shape. We had a structural engineer come in and give an assessment that's in the write-up that's in your packet. This was built in roughly 1860. The exact date is unknown. And of course, during those times, there was no building codes. The foundation roughly sits on sand with a cement slab over the sand. It has cracked and heaved over the years. The interior walls are not to code whatsoever. It's I don't want to say post and beam, but it's a modest post and beam, where the posts are 4 feet, 5 feet on center within the building itself. You can see in some of the photos that the wall is actually pulling away from the foundation a couple inches in some locations. And it can only hold one car if I have nothing in the garage. But I have, of course, lawnmower, snow blowers and stuff. I can't fit a car in there. So I'd like to tear it down and rebuild it with a new structure completely. And the plans are attached in there with what the houses look like. White cedar shingles, typical Cape Cod in look, white AZAC trim, and pretty much in the same location. I am going to move it. It's really close to the lot line right now, and I realize that I'll have to go through the permitting process of that. but I want to move it in about 6 feet from where it's positioned now. So it'll be about 8 feet from the existing lot line now. And the present size is 24 by 18. I'll be increasing it to 24 by 28. And that's what I wish to do.
Just for the notification of the board, I'm not sure whether the Conservation Commission's comments were included in the packet or not.
I did speak with Amy, and she said that it wasn't. She looked at my plot plan, and I have a plot plan here. I had it replotted, and I had the surveyor put the wetlands marks on that plot plan. It's not included in there, but I can show you there.
Okay.
And it's well within 100 feet past the
Okay.
wetlands.
The comment that we received back, just for the record, and
Yeah.
that I need to read into it, it just simply says that it may require a conservation approval
Sure.
if the Tories want to rebuild. Demo is okay. So, with the Conservation Commission. So just putting that into the public
Yep,
record.
understand.
The general contractor you referred to, is this Kevin Crowley?
Correct.
Seaboys Construction?
Yes.
Does everybody have a copy of that?
Yes.
Yes.
There's 2 copies in it. Well, one, it was a written thing because we quickly wanted to get it in to meet a deadline, and then I typed it up so it'd be easier. He had nice printing, but
We have both the
Okay.
handwritten and the typewritten letter, so thank you for that. We'll start with any questions from the board.
Did you say there was a plan of, or drawing of the new structure?
was it included in there?
Yeah, no.
Oh, okay. I guess I have a copy here. Maybe it wasn't requested in the checklist or something like
We just talked about a plot.
that. Sorry, I did the checklist. And, that's what it was.
Looks like adding a second floor.
Any
May I
questions?
continue? Yes.
Please.
So we have, as you may or may not be aware, your neighbor across the street at 150 Gorham Road?
My brother-in-law.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
He had the same situation with his barn.
Oh, he
and
did?
with the-
Yes.
Oh, yeah, no, it was.
Well, I was a part owner at that time, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And he came before us, and we were, I believe, as I recall, we were not going to allow him to tear that structure down. But because of its unique architecture and unique, and, of that period, and he came back with a plan that was basically the same, looks like the same thing, but he did make it a little higher, and I think he expanded the back and put an apartment upstairs. And that is what we, because he did that, we did approve it, but prior to that, we were not going to approve, and his barn was in similar shape as yours. So probably it was done by the same builder, maybe?
Ours was in a lot, I know it very well, it was in a lot worse shape than this one is. And I did actually look at that concept of replicating
Right.
that, but the cost to do that, and then the usability of that structure wasn't adequate. I mean, the top portion there would have been totally unusable space. And that's like, double the size of the building. But I did think of that, and I went through the expense of having plans drawn up with that.
And even by making it higher, you still couldn't make that
Yeah.
usable?
I mean, yeah, and the cost was, it tripled the cost of the building because of the truss that would have to be built to support that type of architecture.
Any other questions?
Building has the same orientation, meaning it's facing the doors, the garage doors will be facing the same? So when you look at it from the street, are you still seeing the side, or?
You'll see the garage doors from the street.
So you're facing it,
Yes.
you're turning it
Yeah,
almost?
Just
okay.
the way the garage door was put in and in the original structure, it wasn't convenient to drive around and drive in.
Right, you know.
It wasn't, it really wasn't meant, I don't think, to be a garage, really.
The second floor is gonna be storage, or is it gonna be an apartment?
I'm building it out possibly for an apartment, you know, as we get older too, and now there's a zoning change proposed at this year's town meeting for accessory apartments. So I decided to, you know, go ahead and at least build it out to accommodate that if we do something in the future.
Sure.
The immediate need is not to do that, but to build it out just in case that presented itself.
You may wanna check the setback, if it's within the setback.
It definitely was not within the setback.
If you keep it in the same place, they may not allow that.
If I can write on this.
Yeah, well,
If
that's,
you move it in,
yeah.
then they do it.
Well, I'm learning that I need 5 separate permits for this project, and
Zoning level.
this is the first one, and, but thank you, yes.
Any other questions?
No, the garage is pretty deteriorated.
Mm.
There's no social, structural redeeming value at all to it. It does become a cost issue whether you try to restore that or put it back at the same footprint, or you're trying to expand it. It's nice to be a little more sympathetic to what was there as far as architecturally.
I did, if I could say, when I went to renovate the house, I elected not to tear the house down and move it back. We like old structures, and I spent 9 months and a little bit more money than I originally planned it, once we started renovating. But the house is in perfect shape now, and it's original to what it was there.
Brendan, anything else?
I mean, the only reservation I have is so the building is now going to be moved over to accommodate the staircase on the right-hand side?
Correct, yeah.
And you're
Right
going to,
now, it sits about 2 feet from the lot line.
but zoning you haven't got there yet.
I haven't got there
So
yet.
they might, because you're like 2.7 feet now, you're looking to go another 6 feet?
6 feet away from that, and I understand that there might be an issue with the setback.
Tearing it down, so they may make it move it 20 feet in.
It might make them move 20
Yeah.
feet in. My only reservation with it is seeing the staircase as you look down. I mean, it's a completely different look. I think it would complement the house really nice, and the house is beautiful.
I tried to match the pitch of the roof to the pitch of the existing house.
That's why it's a great look.
Yeah. And the reason the stair is like that is to meet code as far as a landing. We couldn't have
You need the,
more,
you know,
we couldn't have more than 13 steps.
Wow, the ceiling height is that high up there?
Yeah.
to get up there.
What do you have, 9-10 foot ceiling in the garage?
Yes. Yeah.
Does it have to be that high?
That seems like a standard height now in garages.
Like over to
Yeah.
see the other, I just want to see. This?
So this moves over. So you wouldn't see the full structure of the offset.
So if I can, the front elevation now, we would actually see, you're gonna see the garage doors. As
Correct.
opposed to before where you saw the
So you don't
side.
get to see
To
it.
the side, yeah.
It doesn't
You saw the
blend
side
in.
and the
No.
roof.
See, I thought this would blend in with that.
No.
We've owned the house for 17 years, and we've never parked the car in the
So
garage.
do
It's
I-
just,
I
it's
visit
tough
this,
to get a car swung around to get it into the garage.
And I
it
suspect
doesn't
you will
compete with
probably
this,
still have
but
to
that's a
swing
little
around
design
behind a
thing.
little bit if they
Yeah.
make you do your detached rear with the 20-foot setback
It would be a 20-foot setback, yeah.
on the side,
Mhm.
from the side of the property.
If you do that, then the garage shifts way over.
It shifts behind, it
Behind the
actually
house.
shifts
Behind the
behind the house.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What
So
may,
we can have a screen in front of the stairway, if it does show, a gateway.
Oh, but sure, it's not this
So
big.
here's my question, is the stairway going to show? Or you mean this coming up the side? I was looking at the side.
Yeah.
I see it from the front, yeah.
You'll see it, because if it's 20 feet, no matter what it is, if it's 20-foot setback, you'll still see, the stairway would be a focal point. as
Be
you
a
drive
focal
up.
point, yeah. That's this, 1, 2, 3.
As opposed to going the other way.
Then bake it,
I thought about it either way, and I just showed it there.
You can go the other way and still work.
Yeah, it could go the other way.
The other way. That way it lines up right behind the house, if they make it move it 20 feet over.
Mhm.
And then
Just
the-
17
Yeah, I think aesthetically, though, yeah, you probably
what
wouldn't
you'd
want
see
that
is-
anyways,
You'd see
yeah.
the dormer on to the right, as opposed to seeing the dormer to the left.
Yeah.
I like this house, but there's a shot of the house.
Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful house.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I mean, I'll be honest, I like the garage because I think it brings more attention to the rest of the house
Mhm.
than,
Well, yeah.
Oh, wait a minute, I'm confused. Is it going to be like this? Or is it going to be like this?
It's gonna be like
No,
that.
that was
This is
the,
pre-existing.
when you brought up that point about,
Like this?
about
Yeah.
150.
Oh, okay.
I looked into, because we
That's
thought of that
facing.
originally, it's what we wanted to do, but when we looked at that, it wasn't economically or conveniently,
and the only difference is if you,
That's good.
if you flip-flop the dormer, then the stairs would be over here and it'd be hidden behind the house. But
Yeah,
I'm just,
I'm not.
You don't have to flip-flop the dome, you just
No.
flip-flop, you just move the
Right.
stair the other way.
Mhm.
Rather than go up to the left side, go to the right side. And then the landing is on the dome side.
so yes, that is the proposed.
This one here.
Yeah,
yes.
Okay,
so that's what you're looking at.
okay. Yeah, my comment would be, since you have a little bit of adornment in the peak of the house, if you were to do something in shingles on that, adornment, either, a different type course or something, so it kind of fits into
The house.
the house.
Yeah. Looks like it's a decorative gable vent.
Yes,
You do a
decorative gable.
decorative gable.
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
Garage, so it picks up the house's gable.
Right.
Mhm.
Do you
Oh, I
want
see what you're saying.
this?
Yeah,
could
if
take
you wanna-
this,
So-
is do this same thing
Same
up
thing,
there.
Well, we planned to do something like that, yeah.
But I mean, if you do
Yeah,
that,
we
it
actually
would-
were
it would
gonna
look
do
good.
something like that.
Yeah, no, that would be great.
And a brow,
that
a
makes me
window
happy.
carrying across.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So you're okay
We were
with
gonna
this
do that,
facing
and,
the street?
yeah, no, I very
Brown
much like
window,
that.
keeps the
And if there was
water
just a
off
little
the-
adornment up there,
yes, no, we
Mhm.
actually,
It would look
we're
very
gonna do
nice.
something like that, yeah. And,
I don't get as upset
Yeah,
about
because
the
that
stairway
would put-
personally.
Yeah, no, I was
Right
just a
back,
thought.
Yeah.
Wait, wait,
Yeah.
Or camera, sorry. I just want to make sure everybody
Yeah.
can hear everything. So just to clarify, we are talking about an adornment on the peak of the garage,
Mhm.
above the window, something that would mimic or mirror what's on the adornment that's on the peak of the
Mhm.
house. And
Yes.
you're.
fully in agreement with that. And we were gonna do something like that effect, yeah.
Any other questions or comments from the board?
I'm actually better with the stairs. I didn't realize it was all the way in the back. I didn't see that side view
Oh,
clearly.
okay.
So
Yeah.
now I see that you won't even catch it, so
No.
Okay.
I can,
We're still in public hearing. Any questions or comments? Okay. Last call for comments or questions from the board.
Nope.
All right, hearing none, the chair would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I move to close the public hearing.
So motion's been made by Bob. Is there a second?
Second.
Bob has made a motion. Gail has seconded a motion to close the public hearing. All in favor?
aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, motion carries. And the chair will entertain a motion, but again, this is a notice of intent to demolish.
Can I add one more little thing? I mean, it's important to me. I have a person that's interested in the wood of the barn, to repurpose the wood,
That's great.
because some of the planks are wide in length, and so I plan to do that.
Yeah, we encourage
Yeah.
that, that's great.
Great.
Excellent.
So the chair would entertain a motion on the application for the notice of intent.
So moved.
With the provision.
With the provision.
Right.
Okay, so if I'm gonna repeat it and see if I got it right.
Okay.
So, there's a motion's been made by Brendan, seconded by Bob, to approve the notice of intent to demolish the garage at 153 Gorham Road, with the provision that in addition to the revised, in accordance with the application and the plan that was shown to us for the proposed rebuild, with the addition of some decorative adornment on the peak of the garage that will mimic the adornment that's on the peak of the home. I would suggest that we add that it is, I guess it is, never mind, I'm gonna just end that. We okay with that?
Yes.
We're good.
Okay. So motion's been made by Bob, made by Brendan, seconded by Bob. All those in favor of, is, the favorable vote is to approve the application.
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
John, if you would, can we keep that plan, or can I get a
This
copy of the one that has the design on it?
Yeah.
If I can keep that till the
Yep.
morning, you can eat it back, we can
Nope,
make a
that's
copy
fine.
and bring it to you.
And I marked mine up. and I had it in my foot.
Perfect.
Do you need the interior or just that?
We'll take both and then, if you
Oh,
need
you
other
can keep
copies.
it. That's fine.
Perfect, thanks, John.
Thank you.
Okay,
Right, thank you.
thanks, John. Last but not least, we'll open the public hearing, which is HH 2019-10. It's a certificate of appropriateness, which has been received for 718 Main Street, identified as Cape Cod Village Apartments, map 41, parcel B7-A, Backers ID HRW.282 in the CB zone and the Harwich Center Historic District. The application proposes the replacement of all exterior windows with like-for-like vinyl windows. The application is pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 40C, Section 6, and the Code of the Town of Harwich, Chapter 131, Historic Preservation, Article 1. Paul A. Samar Jr. as applicant for owner, 718 Main Street Realty LLC. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Looks like you brought something with you.
Everybody present. No, I think my original was just for the windows, but I think I amended to include the siding, the cedar shingles, and the roof.
Okay.
Okay. Essentially, I don't know if anyone has seen closely 718 Main Street, the apartment building. I went by there tonight and I took off with my fingers a piece of the windowsill. This is what you have. I mean, everything is rotting. I mean, I could break this apart and make a mess over here. So the whole building, this is indicative of the condition of the building. It is awful. It is awful. So what I want to do is I want to do three things. Replace the roof. The front of the building has already been replaced. About a year or two ago, I'm not too sure when, the previous owner replaced the front roof. Black asphalt shingles, exactly what was there before. I want to replace the back. The exact same thing, black asphalt shingles and replace any rot, repair any rot. That's the first thing. I'd be using the exact same thing, it would be new and nothing to change. The second thing, a lot of the building needs new shingles. It's leaking inside, on the side and the corners. I would be replacing it with the exact cedar shingles. The third thing is all of the windows are rotten. I mean, the panes need caulking. The casing is rotten. You can put your fingers through some of them. Some don't close. They have storm windows that leak in there. Now the tenants pay their own heat. I could leave them like that and say, well, that's the situation. I don't like to own anything like that. I don't like to own that building, so I want to replace most, if not all, of the windows. And the windows that I would be replacing would look exactly like the ones that are there now. Every single window, pane for pane, you would not be able to tell the difference 5 feet away. And I took, except that they'd all be very energy efficient, they'd be vinyl, and they'd be from Harvey. And I got a sample of a window here. Which is, let me see. This this is what, you showed me how to set this up, so this is what the window would look like. Now, this one only has grids on the top, but to show you what grids look without the grids. So mine would have grids all over. This is what the window would look like. It's energy efficient. It's got a bunch of different features that I never even knew these windows had. You can, if I can do this, you pull up these little things, and you can only bring up the window so high, and people can't break in. So it keeps all the nice feature. And I didn't even know these windows had this. If you want to clean them, both the top and bottom, do these things. I don't know if you've ever seen these things. You can take this out, and wash them and everything else. It does a bunch of things. It's a great window. It's a fairly expensive window. It's not the cheapest one. I didn't go to Home Depot. I got some good windows. But, it's an attractive window, and they're very, very efficient. And, I think I gave everyone a package with pictures in it. The pictures are, you put the old window on the side of the new window, it makes the same thing. So what I'd like to do here is replace them with these windows all on the outside and the front with all the grids, and in the inside quadrant and in the back without the grids. And two reasons for that. It's a very expensive project, a huge project. It's very costly. It's not a high-rent apartment building. So the cost is one thing. I save money by not putting the grids on the inside ones. The second thing is those apartments, those one bedrooms are 525 square feet. Very small, and they're very, very dark. And I think that without the grids on the inside, everybody has an outside part of the building and an inside part of the building, inside the quadrant. So I think it'd let in more light on the inside if I didn't put any grids on the inside. And selfishly, it'd be cheaper. But, nobody would see it from the street. The outside would all be the grids. It would look the same thing. And eventually, I think last time somebody mentioned the shutters. I don't know if you've ever seen the shutters. They're the plastic vinyl ones that you can see right through. You can rip those off. You can almost take them off like a sheet of paper. At some point, I'd like to put wooden shutters on there. I don't like, fake stuff. So that's what I want to do.
So just a reminder, is this for those of us on the board and those watching? This is an application for certificate of appropriateness. So
Yes. Yeah.
The board is reviewing everything that you can see from a public street or a public parking lot. So the front, the sides, anything that can be seen from the public way, or even the parking lot at Town Hall would all be subject to our review as you're coming down the street in either direction.
Yep, it would have the exact same. Some of the big picture windows, I think, have 49 or 56 grids. The replacement would have the exact same thing. Would have everything. It's just on the inside of the thing where nobody can see it unless you actually physically walk inside. And it's not accessible with a car. Is where I'd like to not have the grids, so give them more light and save a little bit of money. Because there's a total of 229 windows there. It's a big project. I wish I didn't have to do it, but.
So we'll start at any questions or comments from members of the board. Bob?
Yes. What about around the windows? You're going to replace the woodwork around the exterior of the windows?
Yes, I am, yeah.
And what's that material?
I'm going to put AZAC around there.
Okay.
It's put the exact same size, and everything else is going to be sealed, and everything else is going to be white. And then a lot of the white, I'm not going to replace. A lot of the peaks inside, and they're all white. I'm going to restore those and repaint all of those.
Okay.
The reason being is there's so much rot behind the windows that if I put wood there, I think it would rot through again. I mean, I wish I could take one or two over there. You can physically put your fingers right through, and the wood behind that is rotten also. I want to have some structural work to do, I'm afraid.
And I know we have approved ASICs before in the ASIC in the historic district. However, we don't approve vinyl
Yes.
windows at all. We do allow the new composite materials that are the wood composite that has sawdust in them and they're epoxy. And most of the window companies do have those, but they look better and are designed for historic districts. So I know I would feel that that would have to be used on the windows that you can see from the street and the public
You know, I
areas.
asked for that, and I'm trying to buy it from a local company, Harvey. They don't have that product. They don't have that product. And I don't know who does.
Both Marvin and Anderson.
Well, you know
And
something,
others.
with all due respect, if I put more expensive windows on it, the windows will be worth more in the building. I'm getting rents over there that, I got 8 Section 8 people in there. No, I'm sorry, 6 Section 8 people in there. The rest are paying low rents. If I put in much more expensive windows, I might as well leave it the way it is and just patch it and just not do anything. It just won't make any economic sense. I mean, the building is so tired, and I'm a very proud owner. I want to make it look as good as I can. But on the other hand, I'm not that altruistic that I'm going to build something for the neighborhood and not make any money out of it. So I'm kind of caught in a very tough spot here. You know, I've looked at the Anderson windows. I've looked at, some of the pellets are way out of price. In fact, Anderson's got a cheaper window than that. Shipley sells a cheaper window. Anderson's got one. It looks like this, but it's actually cheaper. I don't think it's as good. I think you get more value with the Harvey window. But I have not seen, I know what you mean, because there's some stuff that's made like that. I have not, no one, I think I talked to 6 or 7 window companies, and no one has shown me that. And Harvey told me that this window has been approved by various historical commissions on the Cape. So, I mean, I don't know what to do, really.
I think we have a case here where the building is not a historical building, it just sits in a historical district. I think at 10 or 15 miles an hour, you go by that building, you're not gonna pay attention to that kind of detail, as long as it has the 6x6 or the 8x8, and they have the configuration and the glazing pattern. I think that's what we're looking for. I think that building is really not an attractive building, but it's just a building sitting in a great district, you know, and to make them comply with historically detailed, correct things that don't belong in the building, I think it's a burden, you know, I'm looking at it.
I was just about to comment that in the guidelines, it does state replacement windows must be made of wood. And then it continues to say aluminum or vinyl clad windows are not acceptable on period buildings. And
This isn't a
as
period
Angelo
building.
just said, it's
Yeah, I can
It's
clearly
in
see
the
that in an older
district.
building, like the house I live in, I would never do that.
right.
You know, it'd be a historically correct
Right.
wood building, wood window. But you have something like, you have the gas station, you have the convenience stores, they're not historical buildings. You know, you want them to look historically correct, but you're not trying to restore that to be historical. So,
By the way, the building was built in 1955. It's got cinder block basement. Most of it is cinder block. There's some concrete, most of it is cinder block. Like I said, it's got vinyl shutters. Whoever built it was not trying to, do something too good with the building. I just want to improve it. I want to do these improvements this year, next year. I want to improve the landscaping. Right now, the landscaping is being done with a guy with a hose out there and a lawnmower, and it's just not very professional looking. But, I cannot, by the way, wooden windows are available to all these people, but wooden windows go in very, very high luxury homes. Wooden windows have to be, like any windows with the code today, they have to be double pane, with energy efficient, and to make those with wood, I think they'd be roughly 3 times the amount of money. I mean, these go in the most luxurious homes with wooden windows. You could. I built a new house 6 years ago here in Harwich, beautiful home. I could not afford to put wooden windows in that house. I mean, it's for someone who builds a multi-million-dollar mansion. These are very expensive. I mean, they all make them, but nobody shows them to you. So, well, we can get you these, but you don't want to buy these. So it's kind of I'm not trying to cut corners. It's just I'm in a tough position right now, and I have not seen, Mr. Dwayne, I have not seen those windows that you see. I know they're made. I know that somebody has them, but I have not seen them, and I don't know what they cost. And I'm surprised nobody's offered them, because I do think they'd probably look better also, but I just haven't seen them.
So how
for a second and talk about the roof. So what is it, what, you had written us a letter April 5th, which I don't know if people have in the packet, but I'll read it in. It says, dear members of the Historical Commission, I'm scheduled to present my proposal, to change most if not all the windows in the subject building. I had also planned to replace most of the roof and most if not all of the exterior cedar siding. I didn't know that for these improvements I had to present it to the Historical Commission also, and he asked that those be added to the proposal. So the roof replacement, what states in the letter is the front of the building has already been re-roofed about a year or two ago. I would like to re-roof the remainder of the building in the exact same asphalt and the same color as presently exists. The roof cannot be patched or repaired. There are 2 layers of old roof at present, and this will have to be stripped. 3 tenants have complained about leaks, and one has had his carbon monoxide alarm go off. That prompted a visit by the Harwich Fire Department in mid-March. The tenant was told that the leak had caused a short in the alarm and to disconnect it until the leak is fixed. Then it speaks to the siding replacement. It says the existing cedar siding is in very poor condition in many areas. I would like to replace most, if not all, of the existing cedar siding with exactly the same material. The front of the building is white clapboard, and that will not be replaced but repainted in the exact white color. When these improvements are complete, the building will be exactly the same appearance as it is now. So I just want to read that into the record. So with respect to the roof, which portions are currently roofed and which need it?
So-
Just the front, you can, if you have an area, you can see just the front of
I
it.
do, it seems like where the 718 is, that building has been replaced, and then there's just 3 tab.
Yeah.
If you go over here, you see there's just a 3 tab, where this is more architectural. I think you mentioned black, but this is
Yeah, like a dark gray.
it's a
I'm
dark
matching
gray
exact color,
kind of, yeah.
My roofer looked at it and he showed me the color, it's the exact same
Yeah.
gray.
So the proposal is to use the architectural symbol on the remaining roof that hasn't already been replaced.
Great.
That's
The exact same shingles, the exact same ones.
It's not a 3 tab, it's the architectural.
It's the architectural one, yeah.
Yeah, that's
It's
fine.
the official
That's
main
good.
building, the 718 building has the newer roof.
Yep.
Yep.
And then with respect to the siding, the proposal is just to replace what needs to be replaced.
Yeah, I was gonna do all of it originally, but it's just, I can't afford to do it, so, so I'm gonna do the worst sections, probably about 50% of it. And most of it is in the back. The sides are in pretty good shape. I think I'm gonna power wash them, just so you can get them clean. But some of the sides are in pretty good shape, but some of them have to be replaced because it's leaking through the side of the building also.
You have the same exposure to the weather, 4.5 inches.
Well, that's the problem. Yeah, I think I haven't figured out which one, why some are rotting and some aren't. But I imagine it has, some have different exposure, more sun or something.
Out, maybe run them out. So there's
Yeah.
Yeah, they look like they're
gaps.
4.5, so,
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not really a good coverage, so it's a good lap.
yep.
yeah,
We don't want to see 6 inches out there.
yeah. So,
So the proposal is to re-clapboard where in paint and re-shingle
Just shingle,
with
yeah.
cedar.
No clapboard.
No I'm saying put clapboard in the front where they're,
clapboard's gonna say, clapboard's in pretty good shape, and
Okay.
I'll just,
so I misunderstood that. I thought there were some clapboards that you were replacing as well.
no, clapboard, the front, pretty much the front, even the windows, I think I'm trying to save the windows in the front, but some of them have terrible, I would rather not replace the windows in the front, leave them just the way they are. I'm not sure I'm gonna replace 100% of the windows, but some have to be replaced, and it's an as you can imagine, it's an expensive project, and I'm gonna get a loan for it.
So are there any other additional questions or comments from members of the board?
So are we to specify the shingle, the 4.5 inch in the motion, or
If that is
would
the.
it be exactly what it is now?
Exactly what it is.
Exactly.
Match like for
I
like.
propose to exactly what it is now, I propose to exactly what it is now.
Any other questions or comments?
Are we gonna go back to the windows, or
Your choice, I just wanted to get that amendment.
I mean,
In,
roof
for the
and roof
record.
siding, clapboard, painting, I'm fine with that, but I tend to lean towards more what Bob was saying. And I think we can come to a compromise, and even what you said, Angela, as well. There's a lot of windows, I understand that. Maybe the courtyard and the sides could be the different windows with the grill. These actually have the grills between the glass.
Right.
But what I would prefer to see on the front of the building, that the windows have the applied grills.
Fully applied mullions, yeah.
Yes.
Mullions, yeah, I agree.
And to do that, I know the Slimline, I'm familiar with the Harvey windows. The Slimline, I believe, does not do applied grills.
No,
But Harvey does have two other lines, the Classic and Tribute,
right.
and you're able to do
You
applied
wanna know which one I'm
grills.
getting, by the way? I have it here. I can tell you which one for sure. You know,
But the only issue is that it's still gonna be a vinyl window on the outside.
Right,
But if there's a historic sill that can be applied to it,
right.
and you're doing your 4-inch, trim around it,
Yeah, I've never used Harvey products.
I'm using the Thermogard, you familiar with that?
it's all,
The I'm supposed to give you this, I ruined it.
okay.
But I'm doing the Thermogard window, which is this one right here.
Well, what I have here, what you gave was the Slimline.
Well, today I saw the rep, he said I'm doing a Thermogard, that's the one I'm doing, he said that.
Fully applied buttons?
Also similar in the front.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, from my understanding, I could be wrong, but I believe the Slimline does not have the applied grills. So, I think on the facade,
On the street side.
on the street side,
Yeah.
those can all be applied grills. I think that's what we could.
You know what I may do, I'll leave the exact windows, on the street side, I can restore them.
That's,
If that's what you want, if that's what you
That's
prefer,
something-
I'll restore them on the street side. I'll have to take them, probably take them. And by the way, here's another thing, these are not replacement windows. I don't know if you're familiar with the difference between replacement and new construction. I'm taking out the whole
you're
window
doing new control.
because there's so much rot inside that to replace them, I'd be replacing them in rotten frames. I mean, it's really a terrible situation, which means I'm gonna have to replace not only the outside casing, but all the inside casing. It's gonna be, it's a.
So, I do have to say, I'm tending to agree with the gentleman that as far as the ones on the front, I do think that if it has an applied grid on the outside, even if it's a vinyl window, if it has so for the layperson, the non-builder in the room, the applied grill is gonna look like, it's gonna be on the outside, and you're gonna see it on the outside,
Yeah.
it's gonna give depth to the outside.
And it's
of the window.
simulated
Sure.
divided light.
Gives a shadow line.
There's a shadow line, so
Yeah.
simulated
Much
divided
better,
light,
much nicer.
applied grille windows. The difference between vinyl and composite, so vinyl is extruded, so they form it, it's all plastic.
Mhm.
That's a vinyl window. But the composite is a mixture of vinyl, PVC, resins, and certain polymers. And what they do is they clad over wood, and the reason why they're doing that to give it strength. So that's where the windows, when you step it up, they're just a little bit stronger, and they last longer. That's the difference between, but they both have vinyl components in their PVC materials. So that's really the difference.
Sure.
But, in this case, the applied grills on the front or restoring the windows
Yeah,
would be an option.
sure. That's a good compromise, where the
Mhm.
rest of this court could be
And when you look down the left and right side, and there's so many windows, if the compromise is these would all be the 8/8. These windows are 8/8,
Mhm.
and those could be.
And I think there's some 12/12 also, right?
I'm sorry, it's 12/12.
Yeah,
You're right.
it's some 12.
You're right.
It's gonna be the exact same thing.
Right, 12/12.
Yeah.
So the board's, just to summarize for you, the board's preference really is that you either restore the front windows or use a window product that has an applied grille in the front
With simulated divided light.
with a simulated.
With the what front?
It's a simulated divided light. It's
Oh,
applied
you mean,
divided
the
glass.
outside grills, like is that what you mean?
grills-
So the grills are on the inside and the outside.
Okay, for the front, okay, yeah.
And
It's
they,
like-
then they,
that's-
then they make it look like it's individual panes.
It's
I know,
bonded,
I know
it's
exactly what
bonded
you
to
mean,
the
yep.
glass.
Okay.
It's not snapped
I know
on.
exactly what you mean.
It's not something that
I
can be removed,
Right.
it has to be applied.
Right.
So
I know
it
what
can't
you
be
mean, yep.
taken off in the
I know
future.
exactly what you mean, yeah. I can do that. I mean, they're very expensive to do, but there are not that many windows in the front, so it's not a big majority, so I would accept that.
And I believe Harvey makes a product where you can have, all the material be the same, and then all the windows have the historic seal
Yeah.
applied.
So, so the preference would be for that on the front on Main Street, on the sides as well? Is that?
Well,
or is it
that would
the
be,
Main Street?
your input, to have some kind of compromise to where,
Yeah, I think the front's critical.
the front is critical. Because
Front's critical.
you walk by that,
Yeah.
you see it's within 15, 20
Yeah,
feet.
if I'm gonna make a compromise, I would say the side can be what it is, but the front along Main Street has to be more correct.
Yeah, so from afar, everything will look the
That's
same.
right.
It'll be the 12/12 everywhere.
Right.
And again, our concern is obviously the look and feel in the historic district. It will certainly be, obviously all of it's an improvement on the building as it is now. And that, those applied grills on the front will certainly help the look and feel on the streetscape as you're walking or driving down the street. So if that's amenable to you, I think that's, seems to me to be the way the board's.
Okay, yeah, that'd be amenable to me. I mean, I'm on your side on this, okay? My home, my primary home is an old colonial home. Everything is proper and everything else. The new home that I built here in Harwich Port, I'm the only guy who did this. On my shutters, I not only use real operable shutters, but I put what you saw in the old fashioned, they had locks on each side, which I'll never use in my, but I use all the appropriate stuff on the side. It costs a lot of money, but I'm very traditional, I want to do things the right way. But on the other hand, it's, this is an apartment building, and it's not, at 525 square feet each, I'll never get the high rents over here, and it's gonna make some sense.
So are there any other final comments from the board on this? I'm assuming there are no comments from the audience.
No, I'm all set.
So the chair would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I make the motion to close.
Motion's been made by Angelo to close the public hearing. Is there a second? Yeah, it's seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any in opposition? Motion carries, it is unanimous. So, the chair would entertain a motion on the certificate of appropriateness. I would just remind that we are talking about windows, roof, the clapboard siding, and the shingles.
Can I make one more comment to the AZAC material?
Yes.
So I think we addressed that. AZAC or any PVC material, years ago, you didn't have to paint it. That was the selling feature. Now the manufacturer is requiring painting it. Before they used to put those little caps in. But as long as it's,
Plugs.
yeah, the plugs, so the plugs aren't done anymore. You just fill it like you normally fill it and paint it. So as long as it's, the AZAC is painted, do you agree? You've probably seen it going around.
Yeah, that's what they've done.
Yeah, I think that's the,
It should be painted.
as long as all the trim or AZAC material you're putting on is painted.
Yeah, it's
patched,
interesting,
and
yeah.
not with the caps.
Yeah.
Where they
Well, you
just-
put the caps on, but you paint over it too, I think.
You could definitely do that, but they just, you'll
You
see a
little
little,
button.
you see a little button and the dust collects around them.
Yeah.
So they're just not
See a
there.
little
Really?
button. And it's more expensive.
It is more expensive.
It is more expensive, the screws and the caps, and the painters usually just pull them out and fill them anyway, so, but that's just.
So what's the alternative? I mean, just
They have the
You
screws.
putty them just like you would putty.
Just put in normally.
They have the screws and plugs that don't have.
You
they're
put
not-
the screws in, you
flush.
putty them, and
Yeah.
then you paint?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, okay, the public hearing is closed. We need a motion on the certificate of appropriateness.
Go, Bubba.
No, I'm kidding that. Maybe you should do, because you have the detail.
I have the details, I'm trying to find my notes, I was scrambling to find my notes.
Take your time.
I was making a list of everything.
No pressure.
No pressure. I was gonna write and give it to you, that's why I was writing it down.
Shouldn't be far. You can write it on the application.
No, I had my own application here. Oh, here we go. All right, so motion to approve the certificate of appropriateness for 718 Main Street, Harwich. We're approving new architectural shingle roof to match existing, that exists on the 718 building.
Match the color of the existing.
New white cedar shingles to match existing exposure.
Right.
Same paint colors. We're approving AZAC trim around the windows to be painted.
Right.
We're approving painting the clapboard. And we're approving
What color? The white.
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 And then approving the Harvey windows that were brought tonight, the 12 over 12 with historic sills to be put inside the courtyard side of the building. But the front of the building will be applied grills, simulated divided light, possibly a vinyl window product
Okay.
or composite.
Did I make amendment to the motion? How does that work?
It needs a second first, and then you can propose an amendment and Brendan can choose to accept it.
The inside court, we agreed that he didn't have to put the 12 over 12 to get more light in, I thought.
That's correct. So for the inside courtyard that you wouldn't see from the street, those would not need any grills
Any grills, right.
or
The
mullions.
way you worded that, it's all
Correct.
windows.
Right.
Okay,
As a
so,
presentation.
Correct.
so can we clarify what's approved for what are you proposing for the inside courtyard?
So courtyard would be the vinyl window, the Harvey window here with no grills between the glass.
One of them ones. Yeah.
Okay, and then for the front, now is that for the front, you had said applied grills, possibly vinyl or composite material,
That's correct.
and the side, what about the two sides, are those vinyls with internal, inside grills?
Yes.
Okay.
The exact window.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're trying, that's where the compromise will be.
That's what the compromise will be.
I just wanted to make sure that,
Yes, ma'am.
so we've approved 3 separate windows for clarification.
Mhm.
Inside the courtyard doesn't require any grill, they can be 1/1s. The sides, we're approving these Harvey windows with the internal grills,
Matching existing 12
matching
over 12.
existing 12/12.
Not internal grills, they have to be between the glass. Or they have to.
That's what
or-
I meant,
or they have-
that's
yeah.
layperson's term, between the
Or they have to
mains.
be applied on the inside only. Sometimes they do that,
Okay.
but you don't want to have grills that are put on the inside that can be taken out.
Yeah, that's
by
not
anyone.
good. It should be.
No, I meant
They have to be applied or
Internal to the window.
internal to the window,
The
yes.
tenant can take them off.
And then on the front, we are requiring applied grills.
Yeah. Simulated, divided, light, applied grills, inside and out. Your choice of vinyl or composite material. With
That's-
this-
Either way, I want to make it look nice.
That's
Is
great.
that understood and
Yeah,
acceptable? Okay.
Yeah,
So
either way, I
motion's,
want to make it look nice.
motion's been made, is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded, made by Brendan, seconded by Bob Doan. Any discussion?
That's
All
good.
those in favor?
Aye.
Any in opposition? Hearing none, it's unanimous.
Thank you.
We will,
Are you gonna, I guess I'll remember what you want, but you're gonna write a report?
we will.
Okay.
So we'll
Okay.
we'll have it, we'll let the building department know, and we'll take Brendan's notes from, they'll take the notes from exactly as he had stated them,
Okay,
and
yeah.
it'll be written up on the decision for you, so that you'll have it. You can check with the building department, if not tomorrow, then on Friday.
I mean, the first thing I gotta do is the roof, because that's an emergency, you know. But then it's probably gonna take me most of the year to do it.
Okay.
So,
Well, you're
Okay.
covered as far as, you're okay as far as we're concerned.
Yeah, okay, good,
Those-
thanks.
Thank you very much.
It's gonna be a major improvement.
We look forward to
We
seeing
look
it.
forward to it, that's right.
And if anybody ever wants a tour, I'd be glad to give it to you.
Thanks for coming back.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Take care.
So, next item on the agenda is the informal discussion about the chief, the MC's PPO board member responsibility training. I think that's coming up. I don't have it, in here. So it is scheduled for May 14th, 2019, it's from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Centerville Austinville Marston's Mills Fire Headquarters. If anybody's interested in going, I do understand that it's a pretty good presentation and gives you an overview of responsibilities of members of boards and commissions. If anybody's interested in going, let the building department know or me know, and we will get you registered for the training.
When is it again?
It's May 14th from 5 to 8.
Okay, yeah.
Is
Do
that
they have these occasionally from time to time?
I believe they have, this is the first that I've actually seen this though in a couple of years. So I don't know if that's just that we just got notice again. But each of the boards and commission chairs have gotten notice of this in the last couple of weeks. So I unfortunately have a planning board meeting that night, but they do it. There's also been some discussion in town about having some open meeting watching for boards and commissions, so these chair people. Hopefully it would be open to others that want to go. So if anybody's interested, I have only heard good things about them. And it looks like it's going to go over, some of the ethics requirements, the open meeting law.
I do a lot of public work, and I was at a meeting today, and they are trying to get away from shaking hands. I was shocked.
Really?
It's gone so far over the top.
Interesting.
You can't greet a woman or a guy and shake hands.
That's interesting.
For Mediterraneans, it's a hard swallow.
It is.
That's a hard swallow.
We like to hug.
Hug and kiss on the cheek,
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know where this comes from.
Let's see. So I would just say if anybody wants to go, let us know. And,
Yeah, I consider that.
we'll go from there. The next item on the agenda is the minutes from March 20th. I don't know if anybody has had a chance to review them. If anybody noticed any discrepancies. So I'll set with it, I would entertain a motion to accept and place it on file.
They have to mark down that I wasn't here.
It
Shows
shows my,
members present.
usually show, where is it, right here? You will not. This number's present.
Oh, it's.
She didn't put members not present.
Okay.
So we can ask her to do that if you want.
Necessary.
So with the change to just note that Gail was not present at the March 20th meeting. Everybody comfortable with the minutes?
Yeah.
I understand a motion to accept and place on file. Would like to make the motion.
I make a motion, we accept the meeting minutes and place them on file.
Anyone's made a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Brendan? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, it's unanimous. The next item is the zoning board of appeals agenda, which is old, so it's not gonna help us. That was for the April 24th meeting, so is passed. Old business, I would, yeah,
Under new business?
yeah,
Can I bring up something that I just realized was the placement of the Albert House in the historic district on the list of available, potential available housing?
so yes.
And do we, being the historic district, have an opinion, or are we allowed to have an opinion on that?
So yes, the concern is, so I'm gonna say that we, your question wasn't something that, which had been agended, but I do think based on the timing of the meeting on Monday, if this board would like to make a comment, we can certainly do that, or individuals are more than welcome to speak at the meeting. It's probably the better way to go because it wasn't an agenda item, we're probably better off if folks wish to express an opinion either for or against. And what Bob is referring to is there is an article on the town warrant that one of the parcels that is being proposed to be transferred to the Affordable Housing Trust, which Brendan sits on, is the Albert House next door. As some people may know, Bob and I on CPC, there was a meeting at last year's funding funded a $2,500 towards a study towards the building from historic preservation funds, and the study was to do a structural look at the building to see what it would be usable for. At CPC last time, I don't think you were there, it came up as to what was going to be done. Mr. Clark did say that they have not yet had a chance to do the study, and did mention that the building is on the warrant for town meeting to transfer custody and control from the selectmen to the trust. That being said, as it's in the historic district, we would again have the purview on certificate of appropriateness as far as any changes to the outside of the structure. I don't know necessarily that I don't believe it's in our custody and control as the historic commission.
Is the building next door?
Yes.
The building next door.
Mhm.
So,
It's gonna be moved to housing?
it's going to be, instead of it being under the custody and control of the Board of Selectmen, which I believe it is now, the Housing Trust, with, I believe, to do a survey and decide whether it's,
There still needs to be a feasibility study for what we can and cannot do there. So the meeting.
and i.e. whether you could use it as affordable housing.
That's where I was.
It'd be cost prohibitive. I was in there, I looked at that for the town when I was a building inspector here, so they could get accessibility into it. And, I mean, the ramp that they did was, token at best, historically incorrect. They could have done so much more, but I guess there was no money for it. It's very tight side there. I'm not going to the study, but,
Is concerns?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
Um,
I mean, once it's turned over, that's the only use it can be, and I don't know what the procedure would be. For instance, if someone said it should be commercial use, which personally I think is more appropriate, and that's a separate hours like that.
Understood. So, I'm a little concerned with us drafting a letter where it wasn't agended. However, that being said, there's no reason that can't be said at the meeting, and express the concerns. And certainly multiple members can,
where's it come from? You go to the housing trust?
it was, Brendan may be better off to speak to it than I am, because my understanding is
Yeah, where'd that idea come from?
very,
So it's on the warrant, it's set for a town meeting to be moved to the housing trust. But at that point, once we get, there's 6 properties we're looking at.
Yeah.
Once we get those, then it would have to be, feasibility studies for all of them before we do anything. So the conversation doesn't just end where we take it and we're off and running with these properties. There's gonna be more discussion to bring the community involved. And to your point, with, your thoughts on what would be best for it all. But our goal is to get the affordable housing. We're trying to get that gap of income housing, right? We're trying to get that closer so people can afford it. So, right now we're at like 5.5%, we gotta get to 10% affordable housing. So it's a bigger, we just started this,
Yeah.
maybe 4 or 5 months ago.
I just look at the square footage, and
Yeah,
put 2
yeah.
families in there.
And there's so many different things you can do with properties, but that's one that's on the agenda for us.
So what happens if you decide not to do housing out of it, and it's in your trust?
It's, like I said, anything can happen, we just haven't decided what we're gonna do with everything, so.
so just in general, my understanding when you're transferring property, it's all about surplus property.
Mhm.
So typically what would happen, what happens, it's the same conversation it's been being had over the Pepper and Brad. The board or commission, whether that's the selectmen or whether that's a commission like the cemetery commission or revenue, if they decide that property is surplus, then they would declare it surplus, then it can be transferred to someone else. If the board of selectmen decides something is surplus, and it's approved, that's the declaration that they would make before they would sell the property. It seems like the declaration is, to transfer it to affordable housing trust. The trust is a little different in that they have the right to buy and sell property.
We just can't spend money or explore the scope it would take to develop any of these properties until we have them operating. So we're trying to get them so we can figure it all out.
It just seems like such a small piece of property to
I'll
do.
check my notes on it. We were so fixated on properties that weren't developed, and
Yeah.
that's already there.
Yeah,
And some of the properties were already deemed for affordable housing,
yeah,
but it was given before the trust was formed.
sure.
So now we gotta transfer those into the trust because it's 2 separate entities. So there's a lot more, but I'll have more information for you next time. I just wasn't prepared to answer that.
No,
But I can-
understand.
I could definitely,
I like what Bob was thinking. It's in the middle of the historical district, it'd be cool to be a little commercial entity that you would lease out and get revenue from. It would keep it historically.
It is right now.
Yeah,
There are tenants in there
Mhm.
paying rent right this minute.
yeah.
But I assume from your conversation is the selectmen already did declare it surplus, because otherwise you could not even take a look at it.
Like I said,
They may or may not have.
I have to just check I'll have that answer for you next time. I'll
Yeah.
definitely, like I said, we were so fixated on like 28 acres.
Sure.
That-
Sure.
that was already there.
That
So-
makes, that's much more sense.
And that was something we just breezed over, but I'll definitely have a better answer for you next time.
Yeah.
So,
But the problem is that next Monday night, it's gonna come up to transfer.
Right.
So it's too late if that passes.
Mhm.
It is what it is. I mean, it's their town. They've done so many bad things in the past. Sometimes you compound these things by keeping.
my understanding was generally that there was, people had looked at current town-owned property, and there were some parcels that were proposed to be transferred. And I believe that went to the selectmen for their approval before it went on the warrant, because it is their warrant. So I believe that's proposed by the selectmen, I could be wrong. I don't know if it's proposed by the trust or by the selectmen, but I would say certainly, there's no reason that members of this board can't express their,
I'm just trying, I don't understand the nuances of some of this stuff,
You're not alone.
so,
You're not alone.
I don't wanna go there and say one thing, and it's just, that's not what it is at all, so.
You're not
Yeah.
alone. I don't think they, based on the CBC meeting, the last one, feasibility study hasn't even been started yet, so there isn't an idea whether that would actually work as housing right now anyway.
Yeah, we had a little roundtable meeting last night
Sure.
in the bigger room, and I think that was the general consensus, was like the conversation has just started on all of these properties.
Sure.
And until we can actually bring them into our fold, then we can actually really take a closer look at all of them and see what is feasible and what's not feasible.
Yeah.
So it's a longer road than expected, but, we just did a tour in Yarmouth where in 2006, they passed the bylaw, and 15 years later, they just produced 69 units of affordable housing. And it cost the town about 2.1 million. They gave 30,000 to each unit. So spending that kind of money to get 69 affordable units, it's right on 28 in Yarmouth. So we're just starting the process. You can see where,
Sure.
it's kind of like what we're doing here. Everything that Bob and Greg put together in the past, and we have this to work off of.
Yes, I've been doing public and affordable housing for 40 years.
Yeah.
And it's, in all my years of experience, public housing serves best when it's distributed throughout the community.
Yeah.
And it's not set on a site.
That's correct.
It's
Yeah.
very backwards.
Yeah, Yarmouth did something completely different where that model wouldn't work for Harwich. I think that was the tone last night. I think we all in agreement with that. So that's why we picked 6 different properties that are spread out through Harwich. Whether all of them get developed or get sold, or we talk to a developer who comes in
Sure.
and we work with him to build something. There's so many different options.
Yeah.
to get
The
to-
neighborhood gets stigmatized when it has
There's
50 units in one neighborhood.
Right, but
But like Wayland has 60 units, and there's 60 individual houses throughout the whole town of Wayland.
yeah,
And it's
right.
You never know where you are.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really a good blend.
Just a question as far as the CPC money, is that awarded to the housing trust or to the selectmen? Or to, yeah,
That question may still come up at CPC again. I believe that money was historic preservation funds.
right?
So,
Yes, it
so
would.
the question can be raised at CPC,
Right.
whether or not it is still
You lose it by default.
available to use the feasibility study if it should have actually been now affordable housing funds. So we took it from the historic
That's a
bucket.
surplus we have. Is it talking about the same money?
There was a $2,500 CPC article last year to fund a feasibility study, but that was taken from historic preservation funds.
Okay.
So I'm not so sure whether,
Well, so was the money at the CPC money transferred to the historic trust for that, or not?
no, that was,
Oh,
that was to
still.
the town. That was,
Right, and for, under historic preservation.
correct.
Okay,
So the
so that's
question is
still, that
whether-
has not been changed.
That has not been changed, and that's, and that question will come up as to, at CPC, whether it's still,
To just go back to the Arbor House, I'm remembering last night, that would be a property that would, so some of the properties we could sell, get money and do different programs, and like called buy-down programs,
Right.
where you try to buy a house at 300, the town
Yeah.
has 750,000, you're paying 250, so there's other programs you can do. But Arbor House is very unique because the property goes all the way back,
Right.
and this parking lot is part of that. So that building would always be either leased or owned by the town. It would say, it wouldn't be something that would be
I
sold.
believe the septic is on that.
Right, exactly. So it's kind of one of the same, it's just the building that something can be done
Yeah.
for some kind of affordable housing. Maybe it's just one unit, it's just,
Yeah.
but that's just popped up.
Sure.
Like I said, there was a lot of information last night, so.
The last couple of items, old business, the demo delay bylaw. I'm personally not prepared to talk about that further. That's, that should be on the should have been on the May agenda, 15th agenda. And the further discussion on the 100-year list. I had tried to scan that document to everybody and it got kicked back to me, so I don't know if it was too big. So it is on the website and you can print it and take a look. I do think we may be in jeopardy. I pushed off CPC last time because they were ready to rescind on us, and I said I was uncomfortable because Bob was not in the room, and Bob was actually the historic person, so they have found the original application for those funds, and it really was specific to doing deeper research into clusters around the community.
Okay.
So I think they're leaning towards saying no and taking it back, which doesn't preclude us from
Applying, we did.
reapplying and asking for money in the fall anyway. So, I just give you that fair warning. But it is on, like I said, it is on the website, you can pull it up. I haven't tried to do some of the deep research yet online, but I'm gonna try to do some next week and see if I can, see how long it takes. See if we can have any success that way. CPC update. Everything's up for grabs on Monday and Tuesday with the applications. Again, the one that is, in my own opinion, most concerning for us, well, that last thing too, but the $150,000 that's on for the Works Academy Museum. I'm really hopeful that that goes through. The money's available this year, so.
Definitely was approved by the finance.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
the city was making.
And they can use, they're gonna need a lot more than $150,000 to.
Oh, no, get things done.
To get things done there. Any other updates on CPC you want to provide, Bob?
No, since I missed the last meeting. That
That's much.
was in New York.
Any other comments about boards and commissions from anyone? Nothing else from me. Although I will say at planning, West Harwich keeps coming up because we are still talking about the 52 Route 28, which is the building that we imposed the demo delay bylaw on. As you've seen from the newspaper, there is a lot of discussion about it. It is, opponents are quite vehement against it. I will say I'm very disappointed that they didn't at least speak to the neighborhood. It seems like they didn't speak to anybody. That being said, there's really nothing. We did all we could do is impose the 12-month demo delay. And it looks like they're looking to put in a retail store and possibly demolish the building, so.
What building is this one?
It's on the corner of Depot Road West and Route 28. It's the old.
Oh, yeah.
The old,
Yeah.
Town.
Right,
yeah. It's the old rectory, I think.
Yeah.
So,
Church offices.
yeah.
so, I have said repeatedly to many people that we did, all that was in our power to do was to impose the demo delay. There's, I do think, a little bit of misconception as to what we can actually do. There's a lot of talk about, the West Harwich being a historic district. I understand it was approved for a National Historic Registry district. I don't believe the final paperwork has been through with everything that I've read. They didn't get the CPC money back when they had applied for it. And I don't think the application has been submitted, so I don't know that it's approved, but it's also not a historic district like this historic district where we're gonna have some say over the aesthetics. So, unfortunately, I do think we did what we could do, and I do hope some of the other buildings get looked at, because when you see the yellow, building that
It just did
Victoria
over.
Chamberlain did,
Yeah, it's
it
beautiful.
looks fantastic, and, I drive by Bishop's Terrace and I wanna cry. So,
Did you see that monster over Davis Lane there? Built?
Really?
Oh, my God. Horrible. The one that they tore down, Paul Bassel came,
Oh, 20 days.
oh my God. Unbelievable.
It's big.
The trees,
Bad.
did they take
Sure.
They took the tree down, yeah.
The tree went down because of the septic.
It was like instantaneous. I think they had chainsaws waiting.
Waiting.
It was terrible. I mean, the building absolutely had to go, but they could have had a little more sympathy to the neighborhood and the scale.
Well, that's what we're talking about when we, what the 100-year list and, how much.
Yeah.
Forest Street.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Forest Street.
It'd be nice if they can come back and say, here's what I'm proposing.
Yeah.
Similar I did at my house. You've been to my house.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I
Yeah.
stayed within the footprint.
Yeah.
I kept all the lines
Yeah.
best I could.
Yeah.
I mean, and I've remodeled it in place, but it's ultimately a new house, but
Sure.
I hope it looks like a new house.
No,
Any other comments, boards and commissions?
no.
We'll see you hopefully Monday night, town meeting,
Town meeting.
7 PM.
Tuesday.
And Tuesday.
It is
Back to back.
And it's usually every Tuesday.
Oh, yeah.
When's the pet cemetery?
Tuesday.
That's Tuesday.
What's the pet cemetery?
I don't know much about
At
it.
Burial Ground.
I feel like I
Yeah.
missed that.
Motion to adjourn.
Yes.
Move.
Motion's been made by Mr. Jones, seconded by Gail. All in
Aye.
favor?
I
All opposed? Yes, please, could you stop recording?